Hi everyone, Adam Doran here, and today I'm joined by my friend Ralph Marshall, former airline pilot and investor. And Ralph's agreed to take some of his valuable time today and share with us about how he made that transition from primarily active income to earning primarily passive income, where now he's able to build the life he desires. And hopefully, by hearing him share about that, we'll be able to figure out how you can do that for yourself in your own life. So, Ralph, I just wanted to say thanks for taking some time to talk today.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Just to start us off, would you like to tell me your investor story? I call it investor story, but you're welcome to throw in whatever details you want to about specifically how you made that transition from where you were primarily earning active income, working your job, to earning passive income through investing, and how that's allowed you to spend more time with family and build that life that you really desire.
Oh, thanks, Adam. I appreciate you again having me, and thanks for the nice introduction. I like to describe myself in a few ways. One is I'm a dad, I'm a husband, I'm a airline pilot, no longer. I just left my active income from my being an airline pilot. I'm also an officer in the United States Air Force Reserve, and I'm also a note investor. That's kind of how I describe myself to people when I first meet them. So I can kind of tell you how I transitioned from the active to the passive income. And this is how I did it. Well, initially, I started out in aviation a very long time ago when I was young. I was washing airplanes, I was fixing airplanes. I just lived and breathed airplanes all throughout school. I graduated from high school, and while I was in high school, I was washing airplanes. I became an aircraft mechanic, and then I progressed into the flying portions where I was a flight instructor and all those different things. And I had a lot of friends that were out there flying and, basically earning a living. And that's kind of the active income, right? Going out there and getting a job. I wanted to get a job flying airplanes because I loved being around airplanes. I loved aviation. And so that was my career progression. I went to college, and while in college, I was flying. And after I was done with college, I wanted to do something different because I had a lot of friends that were going straight into the airlines, and I thought, you know what, why don't I try the Air Force, the U.S. military? And so I did. And so now I was getting an active income instead of from flying airplanes in the civilian world. I was getting a paycheck from Uncle Sam, basically. I joined the Air Force. I was fortunate enough to go to pilot training in Vance Air Force Base, Oklahoma. From there, I moved to McGuire Air Force Base in New Jersey, where I'm currently stationed now, believe it or not, 17, 18 years later. When I was out in New Jersey, that's a long time. When I was out here, I met the love of my life, a Jersey girl, and this is where I've started a family. I'm currently in the Air Force Reserve now. I've just left a very successful airline career as well, because when I was in the Air Force Reserve in the Air Force, I was able to get a job with a civilian airliner because I wanted to go back to that track I was talking to you before, where I was flying civilian airplanes. And so now I was back flying for the airlines as well as being in the Air Force Reserve. Again, all that active income. Now, when I first started with this major airline, probably about 7, 8 years ago, it was in the height of the economic downturn, 2008, right? I know we're all probably familiar with when the stock market was not doing too well. The real estate crash was beginning to happen. And I felt insecure in my job. And I needed a way to basically protect myself and my family. And how was I going to do this? Well, as you know, there's many different ways you can create passive income, Adam. And you can own a business, you can own real estate, rental real estate, as well as you can be in the paper business or the note business. And I tried rental real estate, owning properties for a while, but I realized with my traveling lifestyle and being away, a lot of absentee landlord type of thing, I wasn't very good at it. And so I needed another avenue. And that's where I discovered the paper business as my source of passive income to hopefully use as a buffer. God forbid something happened to my active job with the major airline. And again, I was very fortunate to get to do that.
That's great. And Ralph, I'm going to stop you for just a
Yes,
second
please.
because you covered some really good ground there for folks that are watching or listening to the interview. And you made the distinction between active and passive income. I just want to make sure we recap that so people understand what you're talking about when you say active versus passive. And then also you mentioned that there are a lot of different ways to create passive income. And you landed on what you referred to as the paper business or the note business. And so I do want to give you a chance to explain that too. But would you just real quick recap that difference when you say active versus passive income?
Yeah.
What distinction do you draw there?
Yes, definitely. The way I describe passive versus active is basically trading time for dollars is active income, where you go and show up and you do a particular job and you get a paycheck. For me,
So you have to be there.
you gotta be there, exactly. So for me, I would go up, show up, fly an airplane, get paid, I would land, and then go home. That's basically how I
Okay.
would do. Passive income is basically the money shows up in your mailbox or in your bank account, basically without actually actively going out and doing it. Now, that doesn't say it doesn't take a lot of hard work, it doesn't take planning, it doesn't take education, but that it is passive where it just shows up whether or not you're going out and actively doing trading time for dollars, basically.
Sure. And so if I understand this correct, and those watching or listening understand this correctly, the advantage maybe to that passive income versus active is we all only have 24 hours in a day, so there's only so much we can give towards that active income. But with passive income, obviously the potential there is limitless. We can really grow that and grow that and grow that because it doesn't require our time. Am I understanding that
That is
right?
correct. That's a perfect parallel, Adam, the way to put those together. That's exactly the way it works, for sure. Because it's the power of compounding, if you think about it in that sense, because you're putting one source of passive income on top of another source of passive income so that eventually it creates a much bigger a sum of the whole versus the parts.
Awesome. Well, thanks for sharing about that and just clarifying that. And now I do want to give you just a chance to talk about what I've come to learn is your specialty. You called it the paper business or the note
Yes.
business.
Yes.
It's actually an area of investing that I'm only familiar with, but I haven't really learned about. And so I'll be learning here too with our viewers and listeners. But would you talk briefly about that and why you chose that as your specialty? You started to say that you discovered, owning rental properties just wasn't, it didn't fit with your philosophy and
Right.
desires. So I got
Right.
that. But tell me why you landed on the note business and just tell me briefly about it.
No, great question, Adam. Basically, the note business, we're all in the note business, right? For example, you've bought a car, you may have financed the car, all right? You were in the
Okay.
paper business, right? Now, you were on the other end of the paper business, though. You were actually the payer versus the bank.
One making,
Yes,
yeah,
and
okay.
we've all been there. We've all done it. We've bought homes, we've bought cars, we've done all that type of stuff. So we're all in the note business, all right? Well, I wanted to be on the other side. I wanted to be the bank instead of being the person making the payments. So I learned about this business around, like I said, the same time I joined the major airline. And I realized that the reason I love this business so much, there's basically four key factors: security, passive income or current income, basically, the potential for future growth, and limited liability. That's really the reasons I got into the paper business. Now, other ways of passive income may provide some of those as well, but for me, being a landlord, for example, is a way of getting passive income. But I could not manage the properties, and to be honest, there are other liability concerns as well. So that's why what really just turned me on to the paper business. And it can be done from anywhere in the United States. The loans in our portfolio, I only have one in my home state of Delaware. All the rest are all over the United States. And that's what makes this so powerful, is that it can be done anywhere virtually. I actually, back in 2011, I was over in the Middle East with the United States Air Force, and I actually ran my note business from overseas with a very good internet connection and a very good video connection and phone connection. I was able to actually run my business from overseas. So it is pretty amazing what you can do with this business. So that's why I'm just so jazzed and so excited about it.
Well, that's so cool. Thanks for sharing that, Ralph. And before we start to kind of wrap this up or to begin wrapping this up, I would like for those who are watching or listening to the interview to get some real nuggets of wisdom as far as this process, because it was a process. It wasn't an instant thing going from,
True.
I mean, I assume it took you some time from when you began investing and learning about investing to when you reached your goal of being able to walk away from having to be at work in order to earn a living income. And when you made that transition, sorry, I had some background. When you made that transition of being able to enjoy passive income and checks coming in that you could pay your bills, but not necessarily have to give your time to be at work. So can you just tell me about how long maybe that process took, and maybe just validate for people, who are wanting to pursue this same path where they want to convert from active to passive income in their life, that takes time and a process.
It is, and you've hit the nail on the head, Adam, that it is a process. It does take time, and nothing will happen overnight. The one thing I've learned about passive income, and especially in the note business or the paper business, it is not a get-rich-quick business by any means. It is a get-rich-slow business. And the reason I've been so fortunate and so successful is I've met some amazing people along the way. And that is what has really helped me in my journey and made me where I am, get where I am today, basically. Without the help of my friends, without the help of mentors. And so my advice is go out and meet people. Go out and get out of your comfort zone. Go to networking groups. And don't go there to try to trade business cards or go there to try to get business per se. Go there to build relationships, because that's what this is about. This whole business is a relationship-based business. And I can call people up today and say, hey, I need a certain amount of money to do this, and they'll wire the money the next day. And no questions asked, because they know I will take care of what I said I'm going to take care of, and vice versa. I've had friends call me and I've provided loans to other people. For example, someone said, Ralph, I need $70,000. I wired it the next day because I know I will get paid back, and it's all based on those relationships. But I wouldn't have been able to do that if I didn't get out of my comfort zone and go out and meet people. So that's really about it, is going out, meeting people, getting to know them, see if you like them, and then once you know them, you like them, and then you trust them, then you can do business with them. So it's a process, like you said. It's not a get-rich-quick business. None of this is, as you know, real estate, any of this stuff. It's all going to take time. So whatever passive income you choose to pursue, whether it be rental real estate, owning companies, or the paper business like me, it will work. You just got to give it time.
I love that, and what you said about networking and building relationships.
Mm-hmm.
I also am an advocate for that strategy, really as not only a first step, but something you should do continually. But
Agreed.
I remember when I started my real estate investing ventures as well, my goal was, because I had no resources of my own, to get to know people. And eventually, I agree with what you said, that leads you to folks with regions and linking up with folks who are of a similar mindset that you know, like, and trust. So I think that's just a great nugget of wisdom for those who are watching or listening to this interview. Thanks for sharing that. And then before we finish, I wanted to give you the chance too to talk a little bit about your company, because you have a company, Wilmington Financial.
Yes, sir.
And maybe how folks can get a hold of you.
Okay, great. Well, thank you, Adam. I appreciate it. And thanks, everyone, for watching and listening. Adam's an amazing guy, and I'm glad to know him and call him a friend. My website is wilmingtonfinancial.com, all one word, wilmingtonfinancial.com. And there you'll find many different resources about what we do in our business. We have a lot of educational resources, and we have ways that you can learn about our business and about what we do. Because we do many different things when it comes to the paper business, but really we work with private investors to help them realize their passive income goals. And that really is in the avenue of real estate, because note investing, at least my portion, is investing in real estate. It's just a different class. And a lot of people don't have that in their portfolio. So that's kind of what we do. We work with investors to help them figure out what works for them and their portfolio. And if we're a fit, great. If we're not, we can point you in the right direction that may be able to help you pursue your particular goals. So again, it's wilmingtonfinancial.com. There's a contact section on the website, as well as our phone number. My phone number is 302-351-3435. And reach out anytime if you have any questions. Again, even if it just involves the note business, please don't really hesitate to reach out. Send us an email, give us a call, and we'll help you. And if we don't know the answer, we can point you in the right direction of who we may be able to help you.
Perfect. Thanks so much for providing that contact info and just letting folks know that no matter where they're at in the investing process, they're welcome to contact you and also learn. And I can say I read several of your articles, but the one really stuck out to me called The Power of Passive Income.
Yes.
I really enjoyed that article. And then don't you also put out kind of a regular or semi-regular publication too that's kind of educational for
Yes, we
folks?
do. Yes, we do. We do a monthly newsletter where we send out educational type stuff, as well as our website is being remodeled here a little bit in the next month or so, where we're actually going to have an education portion, excuse me, of the website that's going to help folks just understand our business, because a lot of people have the paradigm shift of being a borrower versus a lender, and that takes time. It's part of that process. And like we talked about before, being on the other end of the note business of being the payer versus the bank, it takes a while for that to shift. And so that's what this is about, is an education process.
That's excellent. Well, thank you so much for taking
And
some of
thank
your
you, Adam.
valuable
I
time
appreciate
today,
it.
Ralph.
Thank you,
I've
sir.
really enjoyed this. I've learned a few things, and
Definitely.
I'm certainly going to continue reading those newsletters as they come out and enjoy
Thank you.
learning about notes from you. And I would encourage anybody else out there that wants to learn about notes or just investing in general. Ralph is a wealth of information. So, wilmingtonfinancial.com. And you're on LinkedIn too. So
Yes,
folks
sir.
can connect with you
LinkedIn,
there.
Facebook,
Yep.
all the
Yep.
avenues, definitely. So please connect. Love to chat.
Thanks a lot, Ralph. It's been great.
All right. Thank you, Adam. Have a great day, bud.